He's the Mountie. He got under my skin when I was a kid, but he always got his man. There you go. There you go. Just brief. But yeah,
don't. Hi, Stewie. Don't quit your day job. Don't go into singing.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there. Yeah, I'll stick to podcasting. That's yeah. I'm never going to be sitting. A warm welcome. This is episode 158 of Stu's Wrestling Podcast, all the way from Wales in the UK. And have I got a treat for you? This guy, I've followed his career for many, many years. I'm going to bring him right in, all the way from Washington, D.C., by way of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm wearing my Bucks t-shirt for him to honor him today. It's the former two-time ROH TV champion. It's the last real man, Silas Young, on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today. How's it going, Silas?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today, Stu?
All good, man. All good. Thank you for coming on. Now, I'm going to ask about stuff currently with yourself. I know you've been doing a lot of independence and stuff like that. So, yeah, what's been happening more currently with your career for the viewers to find out and, find out some more about you?
Yeah, so like you said, lately I've been doing a lot of the independents. I've had a couple tapings I did with AEW for the Ring of Honor tapings this year. A couple of them in August. I think he did one in September, maybe two. Trying to get out there and work the independents. After being with Ring of Honor for 9 years and having about 5 years that be exclusive, there was such a new crop of young guys that came up. So, the last 2 years or so being on the independents has been exciting. There's so many good, young, talented guys to work with. And then on top of that, I just recently moved from Milwaukee out to Washington, D.C. So that's a big whole change. I still have bookings that, I'm finishing up in the Midwest, as well as picking up some bookings out here in like Jersey and Delaware, Philadelphia. So things are cool. They're exciting. It's, I've always enjoyed working the independents. You get such a freedom to really go out there and do what you want to do. It's quite a cool experience, and it's going to be even cooler now being out here in this different part of the country and getting to work with a whole different crop of guys.
Who have you been enjoying working with? Obviously younger guys coming through. I know because you faced the who's who in Ring of Honor, man, for the length of time you're there. But yeah, more currently, some of the guys you've got in there with who you haven't necessarily been in with before. That'd be great to hear.
Yeah, so there's a young guy from Indiana. His name is Isaiah Moore. Call him maybe the highlight or something like that. But he's a young guy, super talented. I do W out of Chicago, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Absolutely.
Yep. Hold on a second. It says we lost recording. Does it look all right for you?
Just dipped out a little bit, but it did get about AAW, which I'm very much aware of. Okay.
All right. Very cool. Yeah. So AAW, out working the independents, a lot of times I get booked places that I've never heard of before, or I don't know anybody on the show. Sometimes going in and doing that can be not worrisome, but it's something you think about more because you don't know who you're working with. You don't know their skill or capabilities. Whereas when you go to AAW every month, I know that I'm going to work with someone who's really good, someone who's talented, someone who you can go out there and have, something really cool, something really magical within the ring. And Isaiah is one of those young guys that's been there lately, and I've gotten to be in the ring with him. I think we had a singles match, and we might have done something else like a multi-man or something like that. But he's a guy I'm really looking forward to working with more.
Absolutely. Moving back to obviously moving to Washington, what was the reason behind that? Leaving, uprooting yourself, just for the listeners and the viewers to find out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I lived in Milwaukee for about 19 years. after COVID, I'd been married for a long time. After COVID, or right before COVID, I should say, me and my ex-wife had split up. So then I went through COVID. Luckily Ring of Honor was still paying us until the end of 2021. But it was just so many years of being in the same place, feeling like I needed a change. And I had a friend who lives out here in Washington, D.C. And they said, hey, look, if you need to you feel like you need to get out, you need to try something different. Like, why don't you just come out here and stay for a few months, see how it goes. If you want to stay, you can stay. If we got room here. Otherwise, maybe be a good change of pace for you. So I thought, why the hell not, So here I am. I've been here about a month. Like I said, I already picked up some bookings in a couple of the surrounding areas. And I don't know. I like it. It's a good change of pace. I think just sometimes as people, we were talking about this before we started taping. Life can get hard, man. Sometimes you need a little change for the mental wellness. You know what I mean? So that was I think that was a big part of the change for me. Was I just needed that. I needed that change.
Reinvigorated, Silas. Reinvigorated and ready to go. Then
exactly.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You were synonymous with Ring of Honor, but I'd like to ask, how was it traveling? Did you like the travel side of the business? Is that all good with you? The majority of guys who wrestle and are in wrestling love the travel, seeing different places. How has the travel been for you over the years? That side of it.
Man, I love traveling. I think it's funny when guys get into wrestling and they don't like traveling. Like, it's cool. I mean, it's cool. Everybody's different, right? So we all got our own thing, but I definitely love traveling. I wish over the years I would have taken advantage of certain places that we went, like maybe trying to get there a little early or staying a day extra, which I did. I did a lot. I mean, I did it often enough, but there was, a few places that I wish I would have done it more. But there was definitely opportunities where I got to turn, wrestling trips into a little bit of fun, or stay a couple days extra or come in a couple days early, stuff like that. I definitely enjoyed the travel. Definitely.
How was the UK for you?
Man, I love the UK. The UK was the first place. I mean, outside of Canada, I guess, it was first real foreign country I could say that I wrestled in, and you guys fans are just awesome. You know what I mean? That's one of the cool things and maybe weird things about wrestling a little bit is you don't sometimes guys will say you have to know who your crowd is, right? So there's certain types of wrestling, there's crowds where you will go to and they are fans who appreciate the athleticism, they appreciate the characters, they appreciate the energy, right? So you wrestle hard, you have those really good back and forth matches, right? And then sometimes you go places where it's a bunch of little kids and parents, so then you can do a little bit more simpler or hokey comedy type wrestling. But you got to really know to wrestle for your crowd. And I always thought wrestling in the UK, the crowds that we got are always awesome to work in front of.
I'd say you are all in at Wembley Stadium. Just to segue into that, we went. I was as soon as they announced it, I was like, I said years prior, I'm going to that show. Went to SummerSlam 92 many years ago. I've said this time and time again. My regular viewers and listeners, not SummerSlam 1992 against you, but yeah, it was like, oh, you're not going to do WrestleMania. I did loads of WrestleManias, flew over and stuff, but as soon as that
you froze on me a little bit, but
oh, sorry, bud. Sorry, but just saying, us as fans over here, all in AEW coming over here. I had to go, and it was amazing. It was an amazing show, an amazing day at Wembley Stadium. We're crazy. We're crazy over here, the fan base.
Yes, you guys are. But you know what? That's as performers, that's what we want. We're feeding off that energy. The energy you give us, I think also comes from the energy we give you guys. So it's fans like you guys are the best.
Have you ever had any bad experiences with fans? Taking your gimmick too literally. Has there been anything that side of it?
No, not too bad. But I mean, I also have pretty thick skin. I look at wrestling you can say whatever you want to me, because I mean I'm out there being this character, being the last real man, and I mean they say that our characters are, an extension of ourselves, and it is, and it's kind of like paying homage to my father a little bit. But I'm super chill. I'm a pretty laid back dude, and so if people get insulted or people are angry at me or want to talk shit to me, I like it. I take it like other guys take cheers or people popping for them. So it takes a lot to get under my skin.
How's it been for you? Obviously, going from a heel essentially to a face. I know. Heels are cheered. It's totally different to how it was donkeys years ago. But how's that been for you? Being a face, being a heel. Dipping in and out of that as a performer.
It's fun. Honestly, it was a little weird at first, just because for so long I've wrestled as a heel. Ring of Honor, I was a heel. And I got to a point where people pop for me because they liked me or enjoyed me. And even before that, on the independents for so long, I always wrestled as a heel. But now, coming off, Ring of Honor 9 years, being on their television for 9 years, you go do some places and people want to book you as a babyface. So it's been a little bit of an experience. It's definitely it's a different mindset, but it's cool. It's one of those cool things about wrestling. I've been doing it for 21 years now. Is that you never stop learning. It's not like, oh well, you learned you're a carpenter and you learned how to build a wall. And now you're going to go out there and build a wall for the 8,000th time. It's always different. It goes back to that thing about, like, what type of crowd are you wrestling in front of? Who's the guy you're working with? What's their character? What are they trying to give off? And then thinking as yourself of having this mindset for so long as a heel, it's definitely been an experience, and it's definitely been challenging at times, but it's something I'm having fun with.
Cool, man. Cool. Right. A former tag team partner and rival of yours sent a message in via Instagram. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger so we can see it if possible. Basically, it's Josh the Goods Woods. He said, what? No, sorry. Who was his favorite tag partner ever? And why is it me? ? He asks.
Anybody but Josh Woods was my favorite tag partner. No, Josh is great, man. Me and him had the pretty cool thing going with two guys, one tag. It was super enjoyable. It's for me. I like with wrestling. Yes, I enjoy the wrestling part, but I really enjoy the character stuff or the little scenes or backstage skits, things that you can do like that. That's the stuff that I feel like really helps attract fans or helps people understand you as a character and make them either really like you or really hate you.
Absolutely. It's cool, the comedy aspect of the tag team as well. I loved it. It got me chuckling. I like a bit of comedy within wrestling. He extends off this though, and what does he have against hugs? This is from the man himself.
No problems with hugs. You could say I've been opening up about hugs lately.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And also, you're with Beer City Bruiser for a long time. Different again. You had to adapt, obviously, change and stuff like that. Being with Josh Woods, I can imagine. But yeah, your time with Beer City Bruiser, man, because you were together for a long, long time. And yeah, I know, obviously, you went against each other when he was with Brian Malonis as well.
Right. Yeah. The thing with Bruiser is I've actually known him my whole wrestling career. He started maybe, I don't know, at least a couple of years before I did, but we're from the same area. So Bruiser's a guy that I've known well for a lot of years. A guy that I've shared the ring with both as tag partners and as opponents. It's always a good experience when you're working with the Beer City Bruiser. You're going to have fun. You're going to have some beers, and you're probably going to get a little drunk.
It's cool. It's just to adapt that. I love that. You're with a different partner. For you as a performer, I think that's good. That's good, man. And it comes across on television to us as fans as well. So yeah, that's cool, man. How about your 2 TV title runs in ROH? I felt you could have been world champion as well. I've said this to you in messages. I always thought, yes, this is the man that can go to be the world champion, but obviously had a great run as TV champion twice. So how was that for you? Carrying the title and having so many matches with the creme de la creme of ROH.
Yeah, man. Honestly, winning the TV title was pretty important and pretty special for me. In wrestling, you wrestle places, you wrestle the independents, and like we talked about AAW before. A great independent to work for. But I've never been much of a guy who's been super enchanted, I should say, by titles. But when I won the Ring of Honor World Television title both times, that felt like something really special, really important. It's a title that's world recognized. It's a title that's been held by a number of guys who've done amazing things in wrestling. I would say, honestly, it was like the first title that I won where I really felt like, wow, this is like a huge accomplishment. This is something I would be super proud about, something I would brag about. Because like I've said, I'm just like, I've never been overly enchanted by the belt thing in it. And that's not because I don't have the confidence in myself, because that's not the issue. It's wrestling to me. I look at it differently than a lot of people. Like I love it. But to me, it's like I said, I really enjoy the storytelling, the backstage skits, the really getting into a character. I enjoy all of that so much that sometimes I can look at wrestling weirdly, where I'm like, yeah, it's cool to be champion, but it's also cool to do other things. But with the Ring of Honor World TV titles, the 2 times I held that, it was super special and super important. It felt like I really had made a big achievement because it was a title that's been recognized and respected and actually defended all over the world. So yeah, it was a pretty amazing time.
Fantastic. For me, fan perspective, again, I keep going back to that. It was great seeing your runs with the belt, and it was just the roster. Even the roster now, it's superb. How do you think the business has changed for you personally? You've been in the business for a long, long time. Things change, things evolve. How, from your perspective, Silas Young's perspective, has it changed?
I think, wrestling definitely has changed. It always changes. It always will keep changing. I just think it's become more athletic based. I think it's become a little bit more athletically driven. It is nice to see that characters are coming back a little bit. But I also feel like I've been around it for so long that you don't really realize the changes as much as they happen. Now, like, I think if I were to stop wrestling today and not watch it, not pay attention to it, and come back in 2 or 3 years, I'd go, oh my God, this changed. But just being involved with it for so long, it's kind of hard to point out certain things.
Absolutely.
Right. You see trends that happen. You see trends that happen in wrestling, but that, I feel like that's always been.
Who do you enjoy watching within wrestling when you get a chance to watch some stuff? I know obviously everyone's so busy, aren't they? And there's so much of it. But yeah, guys you enjoy watching within the realms of wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much wrestling out there. It's hard to watch everything. Plus you have life going on. You don't always get the opportunity, but honestly, as much as I like to give him a hard time, I love watching Josh Wood's stuff. He's a guy that had a buttload of talent and just needed an opportunity, and me and him got to do a cool thing together. And I'm proud of him. I'm proud of like how far he's come along and what he's been able to do with it and where he's been able to take it. So anytime I can catch Josh's stuff, I like to watch it. He's my friend. As far as other stuff, like, a lot of times you'll just hear like, oh my God, did you hear so-and-so had a match? It was really, really good. I'll go check matches out like that. I try to watch AEW as much as I can catch it. Sometimes I'll catch some WWE stuff, but it's not anything that I watch regularly. But when I have friends that are doing stuff or really cool matches that have really stood out, those are things I like to check out.
In terms of AEW, like which guys, just to extend off it, who do you enjoy watching within AEW?
Oh man, there are so many of the good young guys. I really like Darby Allin a lot. Darby Allin's great. He's got this great presence and great character to him, and he does some unique stuff. And there's no one that puts their body on the line like Darby does.
Just so many matches. Again, I think TNT title, man. He's had his runs with that, and like you say, sometimes the character supersedes the belt. He's as a character, he's fantastic, but I feel like he should have had the belt longer. They do seem to move that belt around. That's not a criticism. That's just fan perspective. I think he could have had longer runs with that belt, but a lot of the talent, even Cody, he dropped the belt, as high up as he was in the business. Kind of seems to be that way with that title. But I'd rather someone has a longer run with that belt personally. Just extending off Darby.
Right. Yeah, Darby's great, man. He's definitely he's a guy who's unique and is very good at what he does.
And him and Sting together, initially you're thinking what's going to happen here. They've been fantastic together, especially tagging because they haven't lost a match. So it's great. the veteran and the young man together. Because I was a bit, I don't know about this initially, but they've been fantastic together. I've enjoyed that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to see a guy like Sting too, a guy who's like the man, a guy like Sting who's could basically, write his own story with whatever he wanted to do. And he's like in there doing what's good for wrestling, doing what's good for the future of the business, and just making Darby look like a star and not doing anything to take away from it. And it's so good what wrestling should be, man.
Absolutely. You got in there with Powerhouse Hobbs as well when you've done bits of AEW. So yeah, how'd you find Powerhouse Hobbs? And you've got to have a go with him. You've got to have a go with him in there. So how was that for you?
Well, Powerhouse Hobbs caught me when I was slipping, and it didn't last too long.
Okay. Right, OVW, I'm going to go right back now. When you're in developmental, I know you've done some stuff with WWE prior. So you're in OVW in you many, many years ago. How was your time there? I'd love to ask you about that. We're going back a bit now, Silas. But yeah, your time in OVW in WWE developmental at the time.
All right. So my time with OVW was extremely, extremely short-lived. I had done some extra work for him, did like a couple Sunday night heat matches, maybe like the ECW tapings. I got invited to tryout, which I don't think was really much of a thing. I had known Ken Anderson or Mr. Kennedy at the time, and he was there. And I was talking to him, and Johnny Ace had walked by, and he had said to Johnny, "Hey, this is my buddy Caleb. You guys should give him a look." So they had me go down to OVW for a week to do like a week-long tryout, but it was different than the tryouts that they do nowadays, I believe. So at the time, OVW did house shows during the week, so I basically worked their house show loop. Like I think it was like 4 or 5 shows that week, and then did training at their facility during the day, and then the shows at night. And maybe about 2 weeks afterwards, I got a call and said, "Hey, we're going to sign you to a developmental deal. We're going to have you move down to Louisville, go to OVW." I was super excited. This was probably about a week before Christmas. Jesus, that would have been 2007, maybe, I think. Yeah, 2007. So then after the holidays, I started getting all my paperwork and stuff like that for it. And in the process of doing all that, OVW, I saw online one day, no longer had a working relationship with WWE. Basically, they were pulling their developmental from them. So then I got a call like 2 days later, said, "Hey, because of our closing OVW, we're not going to put your contract through." So I was never actually in developmental. Mm-hmm. It was a small-lived horrible experience, I should say. You get told you're going to get what your dream job is, you're going to get it, and then it's like, no, we're going to take it away.
How was it doing Sunday Night Heat? Going back to that and going on, doing the shows with WWE. How was that for you?
Yeah, man, it was cool. I got to work with Val Venus. It was probably, I don't know, maybe his last year or so with the company. He was super giving. He made that match. Obviously, the job is for him to get over in the match, but he gave me more in that match than probably most guys would be given, and that really gave me the opportunity to shine a little bit, and then get the opportunity to do more with them, and then get asked to do a tryout.
Oh, that's cool, man, that you got to get in there with him as well. Like he had a great career. He had a great career. Lived his gimmick and did very, very well. So no, it's good that he was giving to you in that match. That's nice.
Absolutely.
That's nice to hear, man. Now you were obviously a wrestling fan before you became a wrestler. So
Mhm.
just memories when you were younger, watching wrestling, some of your favorite matches I'm going to go with. I know there could be hundreds of matches, but if you could pick maybe 2 or 3 that stick out for you, but which predate you being a wrestler when you were a fan.
Oh man, definitely Hogan versus Warrior. What was that at, like SummerSlam maybe?
WrestleMania 6.
WrestleMania 6. All right. Yeah.
Toronto.
So yeah, that Hogan and Warrior. I remember at the time, like my mind just being so blown. Like, how is this possible? This doesn't happen in wrestling. So that one really sticks out in my head. Royal Rumble '92. I think that sticks out in my head because my parents barely ever let us order the wrestling pay-per-views. So when we did, we taped it, and I remember rewatching the Royal Rumble '92 a lot. So that sticks out in my head. And like one of my youngest memories is I grew up with 5 older brothers, right? And they were all pretty much wrestling fans. But there was the 3 oldest, and then there was like a 7-year gap, and then they had 3 more. So like my older brothers, they really liked the NWA. They liked, they liked Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, and I was more of a WWF kid. But growing up, being really, really young, I remember seeing coming downstairs and seeing the NWA on TV. So there's a lot of really young memories of NWA wrestling as well.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We got a bit of WCW here. We didn't have satellite television, so I was watching like 90, probably to like 93. I can remember watching WCW Worldwide here in the UK. I used to get it on a Sunday afternoon, but great times. Any other matches, Silas, that stick out? Obviously, Hogan and Warrior, what a fantastic match that was. But yeah, I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, you are, man. Yeah,
You could recount so many, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say though, just because wrestling feels like at times it's such a mush for me now. It's just all so encompassing,
Absolutely. I was going to ask you as well, just like tips for guys coming into the business. I like to ask you guys. I like to ask the vets, just some tips for guys wanting to come in to wrestling.
Take your time and learn. Take your time and learn. Don't be in such a hurry to. Be in such a hurry to get a job. Enjoy the journey, because there's guys who sometimes get hired places too early in their career, and they think they're ready, but wrestling's it's a game of, you have to get out there and you just have to have the experiences. You have to put the time in. You have to have really good matches. You have to have really shitty matches. You have to wrestle in front of big crowds. You got to wrestle in front of crowds that there's nobody. You have to get all these experiences. So then when you do get an opportunity to, go somewhere and actually make some money at it, you're better prepared. So enjoy the journey. It's definitely a different type of lifestyle. It may not be for everybody, but if it's something you love, it can be like the best thing in the world. Enjoy the journey. That's what I impart.
Absolutely. A lot of people within wrestling, especially in the UK, all I'm hearing is people not being trained correctly, and then getting booked, which is then a problem when they get in the ring, because people can get hurt. That is a fact. I'm hearing a lot of this from guys that are really well trained, that have gone to decent schools in the UK. So
Right.
it's a lot of it is going to the school, isn't it? The correct places where you're going to get the correct training is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely, man. Getting the proper training, super important. It can make a difference in a lot of things. You also need to get out there and network as a young wrestler, and just getting trained by someone who's a reputable school. right away will set you up to be in a better position than coming from some guy that nobody's ever heard of.
Absolutely. Sound advice. No, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Especially for guys over here. I know a lot of talent that are in their infancy trying to make it, and they're doing well. They're doing well, especially on our independents over here. So they'll take a lot from that. A veteran like yourself who's been around the business so long. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, man.
Absolutely.
Outside of wrestling, what do you like doing, Silas?
I mean, man, I'm a pretty boring dude. I go to the gym, obviously. I like doing hot yoga. It's something I picked up a couple years ago. I mean, honestly, for myself, I'm 43. I've been pretty lucky, knock on wood. I got to find some wood here. Knock on wood, I've been pretty lucky with injury stuff, but I know as far as making my body feel better, making my flexibility good, making sure I'm not sore, man, doing the hot yoga 2-3 times a week. It's amazing for your flexibility and for your joints. I've had a couple injuries that I just wouldn't heal up. And when I kind of buckle down and get on the hot yoga on the regular, it really helps heal up all my aches and pains. So I really enjoy that. I mean, I like going out to new little restaurants. Living in this part of DC that I'm in, it's the northeast part of the city. It's kind of like a cool, hip little area. There's a bunch of good little restaurants. I like to go check out the new restaurants around the area, have a couple cocktails, watch some football now that it's football season. But I'm pretty basic dude. I don't do anything super crazy.
I'm assuming it's Green Bay. I'm assuming it's Green Bay with the Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, Green Bay.
What about Rodgers not being there? I mean, that's an obvious thing to put to you. But yeah, how do you feel the team are doing? I'm not a big NFL guy.
Okay.
So, yeah. How do you feel?
I mean, I was a little worried, but then, I mean, I don't know. Since you don't watch NFL, I'm not sure if you're aware of this. Rodgers got traded to another team, and he had 4 plays, and he tore his Achilles tendon. So he's out.
I did hear Whittering's about an injury. So yes.
So it's kind of I mean, it sucks because, I mean, I'm not one of those people that gets mad about a guy if he leaves a different team, and I certainly would never wish someone get hurt doing anything. But him leaving and then him getting hurt kind of makes you go, all right, well, maybe the Packers made the right move and decided to go with the younger guy. Rodgers can't be around forever, and they have to have someone that they've groomed and brought up through their system. So I'm happy that Rodgers, got to land with a team like New York. If he would have stayed healthy, I think they could have done really well this year.
I tell you what, it's big business. It's big business over here when they come to London for the events now as well. That obviously we're getting matches. I know that's been happening for a while, but massive over here when they do come over.
Right.
I still felt a franchise might come a bit more eventually. Maybe the Jags because of Tony Khan's links with Fulham Football Club over here. But it's crazy how big it is over here as well when they do come over.
Right.
Absolutely. What about the Bucks, Silas?
I mean, I watch a little bit of it. I'm not a super big basketball fan, but being from Milwaukee, it was pretty cool. A couple years back when they won the championship, it was a crazy night in Milwaukee. I was living in this cool little apartment at the time, in kind of a little party area of the city, and it was wild when they won. And it's cool to see, being from Wisconsin and being a kid when the Packers were really terrible before Brett Favre, and the Brewers never really being good. It was really cool to see Milwaukee get that win, and even for them to now they got Damon Lillard, I think, some guy who's really good. Like I said, I don't know basketball really well, but it's cool to have a team that's a contender. And it's cool to see the energy in the city when there's games.
It's the big man Giannis for me and how he's polarized basketball essentially and what he's managed to do. What a player he is. Again, I see things sporadically with the basketball. Like in the
Right.
90s, I used to watch a lot of basketball when I was younger, but yeah, he polarizes it, man. Absolutely. Before we go, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time, I'm going to bring up some guys from ROH, guys that you've wrestled. I know the first one I want to ask you about, a bit of word association as well. Jay Lethal. Just some words about Jay Lethal.
Oh man, Jay Lethal is my favorite guy ever to share a ring with. Best opponent ever.
Mark and Jay Briscoe. God rest his soul as well. God rest his soul, man. Jay.
I love the Briscoe brothers. Like you said, rest in peace, Jay. Man, the Briscoes were just one of those tag teams that you knew you were always going to have an awesome match with. There are definitely some hard-hitting guys, and it's a shame we'll never see another Briscoe brothers match, but it's always good when I get to see Mark though too.
I'm looking forward to Mark coming back after this injury as well. It'd be good to see where they place him and what he's going to do in AWC. I'm really looking forward to seeing him back. Just a couple more. Kenny King.
Kenny King's like I'd probably say he's like my best friend in wrestling. He's a dude that every weekend we were on the road, we were hanging out together. Love that dude. Love sharing the ring with him.
Absolutely. Rhett Titus.
Rhett Titus. I think I might have had Rhett's first Ring of Honor match with him. Rhett's a great dude. He's a guy that I've known since I started doing stuff with Ring of Honor way back in 2007. Rhett's one of the old school homies.
And just to complete, just the last one now for you, because our time is of the essence. Dalton Castle, who you had an extensive feud with, the longevity of that feud as well, which we don't see. I know you're going to have quite a bit to say as it pertains to Dalton Castle. My favorite ROH talent of all time as well. I'm sorry, Silas, you're up there. You're up there. You're second. But Dalton Castle, man, and yeah.
The only reason he's your favorite character is because of me.
You got me there.
Dalton Castle, me and him had some pretty amazing work together, both matches and, like I've said a couple times in this interview, I really enjoy the backstage stuff. I enjoy the skits. I enjoy the storytelling, just everything, the sitting in back spitballing with each other, trying to figure out stuff that you want to do, and then being able to create this little piece of entertainment, so to speak. So working with Dalton, I feel like I did some of the best work of my career, but he's also the worst guy to call wrestling matches with. So best work, most frustrating.
Well, you've encapsulated that very well there. Yes. And just one more. I'm going to throw one more at you because he was a veteran and he came in. You did a bit of stuff with him as well. Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley. How was that with him?
Bubba Ray. So it's funny, sometimes Bully doesn't have the best reputation in wrestling, and I usually try and give people, the benefit of the doubt. But I like Bully. He's really he's not a bullshit dude. He tells you exactly what he thinks. He's also really smart. He knows a shitload about wrestling. So I definitely feel like I picked up more than a couple things from him, but he's a polarizing guy. People either like him or they're afraid of him. and I say that because I feel like a lot of guys are like, oh, fuck that guy. I think they're a little afraid of him. And I remember even having a conversation with him about, I don't even remember exactly what. And I was like, well, yeah, bro, you fucking intimidate people. And he's like, oh, come on. I was like, bro, come on. Are you serious? You fucking intimidate dudes. That's why they're like, whatever with you, But yeah, I mean, we end up having a laugh about it, but he's a dude who, he's done a lot in the wrestling business. He's traveled a lot of fucking places. He's worked for every company. Obviously, he knows more than one or two things about how to be successful in wrestling.
Absolutely. Again, just the amount of years, man, and he's worked all the companies. He's worked all them companies. So, yeah, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Silas, what have you got in terms of bookings coming up, just for the fans, the viewers, the listeners?
So I just I got a couple bookings coming up this next weekend. I'm going to be in Michigan. Then at the beginning of I'm sorry, so it'll be in Michigan, and then the weekend after that there's AAW in Chicago, and then the first weekend of November there's a newer company called Raging Pro Wrestling. This guy out of the Green Bay area. He uses really good female talent and a good amount of really good guy talent. So it's kind of a little unknown gem, so to speak, that is always fun shows to do.
That's cool, man. It's good to know that you're busy with bookings as well. And then just finally, in closing, just social media where people can find you, your socials.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram, Silas Young 19. You can find me on Facebook under my real name, which I'm sure if you are watching this, you can figure out a way to find out what my real name is. Yeah, that's about it. Just out there living the life, enjoying a new city, having fun. Thank you for having me on, Stu.
In the nation's capital. Yeah, not a problem, man. As I say, huge fan. When I started doing this show, it's like getting, trying to get guys on and things. I would never have thought in 2019 I would have had Silas Young on the podcast. So it's been amazing. I've loved watching your career. I've loved what you do. Tough man in the ring, but very versatile in the ring as well, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem. My guest on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today for episode 158 from Washington, DC, by way of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's the last real man, Silas Young, former two-time ROH TV champion, wrestling veteran. Thank you so much for coming on Stu's Wrestling Podcast today. Got tongue-tied there. Sorry.
All good. Thank you for having me on, Stu.
No problem, man. No problem.